start that if you want.
Yeah, so when we started having a few issues, and they grew over time, right? Site Logic, assistant district, like I said, the roof was never in the scope of the project, right? So as we started having issues, they had John, which is one of the three that bid on and be priced out for the replacement, started trying to do repairs. It was the person who tried to manage those repairs and hopefully stop the leaks. As we've gone through more and had multiple people look at it, different people, it's become clear that we cannot fix this roof, right? It is beyond repair. We are triaging it now, right? So we're not gonna guarantee that there's not gonna be a drop of water in this building, but we've patched significantly, what was that, Monday? It was for the rubber roof on it.
Correct.
So in anticipation for the storms yesterday, we put this rubber coating, basically like, an extra coating over top to temporarily get us through, knowing it wasn't gonna be a perfect fix. But what's gonna happen is while that water may not seep through there, you're now putting that water somewhere else on the roof, which may have been able to hold what was there before, but now has new things. And we realized by talking to, a roofing expert, 3 different contractors, that if we keep trying to do that, extend it now to the new section, you're just gonna keep chasing it throughout the building and creating more leaks. So we think we significantly reduced the leaks in the areas affected. The science room, water's not pouring in. The science wings, they're not pouring in. There's 4 or 5 sections in each room where you have a bucket, and it's an inconvenience, absolutely, and we understand it's a problem, so that's why we did not have the classes in there. Currently, John is working with SiteLogic to put some stuff underneath the roofs for those areas that may have some drips here or there to collect them to be funneled into one spot, right? So it may not be perfect, we're triaging it. There's no way to make it perfectly 100% sealed proof until we actually replace it. And so we're trying to expedite this as quickly as possible to get that done. So we're not gonna promise that there's not gonna be a drop of water in the building. What we're saying is we've put the significant repairs in that we could temporarily on the roof, and now we're going to try to manage whatever is getting below the steel metal decking to be funneled into a place so it's not damaging anything and to minimize any disruption.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mike. I don't know any questions.
Anybody else, questions?
I think that was it. So you feel that if you add that section of the science, that it's not necessarily, it's not a patch, but you're gonna be able to do that as a permanent repair, and that
A
as
replacement.
an addition, exactly, so that it's done, and then when you come in the following summer, you'll be able to work around that.
It's still a patch,
You know, so-
it's still a patch, it's not a permanent fix.
Well, I think,
It's a patch.
were we talking about, I'm sorry, just want to be sure.
The
We're talking
Souderton
about
area
what we're
is gonna be
do.
added to this year.
Correct.
In summer work, so if you look at
Correct.
the picture,
Yep,
yeah, there's a section here, we're going to add that to the scope.
and that's going to be permanent.
That's gonna be the permanent fix.
Yeah, it'll be a replacement.
Yeah, exactly, okay.
And we
We'll
had,
get a new, because if you look at the yellow, this, if I'm not mistaken, Dave, this would
That's
become
correct.
yellow. So the area right here, this would become
So it's a
yellow.
larger area.
it is a large area,
Yeah.
our
But it's-
3 roofing subcontractors have suggested that they could do much more than that for summer if we wanted them to. I think that what we are going to do is, the area that I showed you in phase 1, the area that we're talking about, that Mr. Braun just pointed out, if we have the ability, because we'll have the material, if we have the ability to do other small areas because we're ahead of ourselves and we had a good summer weather, et cetera, we'll do as much as we can in summer 1. It'll just be prudent to do that.
Yeah, I've tried to chase leaks on flat roofs before, and I know it's impossible, so, you know, and I know sooner, sooner the whole thing gets done, the better, so.
Gets into
The
the-
water runs uphill, you could be leaking here, and it's dripping over here.
I know,
So,
well, yeah.
okay.
And there's 2 reasons for the phasing over 2 summers. One is it's a brutal rip to do the whole entire roof in summer. Can somebody try to do it? But we think we're gonna get the best pricing by talking to our, roofing consultants, that it'll be more, appetizing to the contractors to get a better price to split over 2 summers, number 1. But also 2, with everything else still going on in the building and the renovations, there's gonna be some work that it would be difficult to do roof in the few sections because of work going on in or around there. And we're doing pavement projects there. So part of this is, we don't have from the day they get out to the day they go back in September to do it. It's more earlier in the summer, because the paving will need to be done in some of those sections later in the summer. So that's part of the reason to abbreviate it and split it up too. So it's focusing on the most pertinent areas this summer, and also trying to get the best value out of the contractor. So those are really the 2 reasons to split it up. And there's a possibility, like Damien said, if they're ahead of schedule, they can do a little bit more, it's not the way, they'll try to do as much as they can, but that's really the basis for splitting it.
cost time.
And they did a very good job, like, you see they broke it up.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, if, like David said, okay, maybe we can hit this area here, so there's areas they can keep adding, you know, to get more done. But we'll have, the contract cost is for the whole job, spread over 2 summers, so. Questions from the public, yes, sorry, we'll start here.
Yeah, thanks for the update. Question in terms of between now and the summer, for monitoring for mold or other environmental issues that are gonna be arising with the water that's gonna be up on the roof and in the walls, what are we doing to monitor for that and then address it as
Which
it?
we will monitor that very closely. Mr. Ball has been trained by the EPA on those issues and is very much knows exactly what tests have to be done if we need to do them. But we will be visually inspecting that all the time.
We do air samples in all of our buildings pretty frequently.
Okay,
So and if we have a reason like this, we will do it even more frequently.
okay, as a parent, I'll just speak for myself, or as a child with special needs, we would prefer that be done frequently because.
Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I can share the results with you.
That'd be great.
Okay, I always, when we do air quality sampling at the buildings, the principals always get a copy of it. So the administrative office at each building will always have a copy of the air results.
And Dr. Gallagher, you were gonna talk to Dr. Palmer about communication.
Yes.
That might be a good frequent communication to parents.
It's
letting them-
already in our to-do list.
Okay.
And the design of how they're managing the water now is plastic and being drained to a place to be emptied. So it's designed to keep it away from sheetrock, keep it away from the ceiling tiles where mold would grow. So they are trying to manage it, but, you know, air quality samples, but also visual inspections. And because Chad, who is the site supervisor of the job, he's monitoring this every day and looking at all these things and managing these leaks. So it's gonna be a constant focus.
I just want to echo the original comments. Our daughter has asthma and mold's a very real concern, especially since this is a widespread and ongoing problem. So I would suggest that Dr. Palmer actually publish the schedule at which those air quality tests will be conducted and share the results.
Yeah, and I do apologize if this was already answered because I kind of came in late. But was the roof, two-part question, was the roof considered as part of the overall scope of the project initially?
I hear.
And if not, why was it
I
not?
think you missed that part, maybe.
I may have, yeah, so I apologize if I missed
We
that.
had another firm do a study of all our buildings,
Hmm.
and the recommendation was to do some of these renovations that you're seeing in some of our buildings right now. The roof recommendation was, it has 5 to 7 more years left on it, and that was done in 2020. So this was premature, and that's why it's not part of the greater big project. So it'll be started this summer, as you just saw.
Okay, so if I may follow up, so if knowing that it had 5 to 7 years, when this major renovation that's happening now was being planned, why would this not have just been included, knowing it's a ticking time bomb? Because I know a lot of people are not happy about this.
So we answered that similarly earlier. The feasibility study is all of our buildings, and they have recommendations on everything that we could possibly do, right? And if you added up all the things, the school district couldn't possibly afford it. And they're not even saying it had to be done. What they were suggesting in 2020 was in 5 to 7 years, we should consider a roof coating, not even a replacement. So obviously that estimate was far off, because obviously it's earlier than that, and we need a replacement. So it was just one of those many things, and you know, we could have doubled the cost of the renovations we're doing currently by doing everything. And some of this is, you know, could, should, do, whatever, right? Unfortunately, the estimates back in 2020 did not become reality, and we started addressing it as soon as we realized it. You know, the plan was to look at 25, 26 to replace the roof. It just came a little bit earlier and more significant than originally anticipated, based off of a prior architect that does not do business for the district currently.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am?
Do we have an estimate on any damages that were done to the new, either equipment or to the new areas that this has affected?
Right now, it's primarily ceiling tiles.
Say again?
Ceiling tiles primarily.
Okay, there was no damage to any of the music equipment?
I believe there was. No, I was in there yesterday, there was not.
Okay. And then that kind of goes to my second thing, because, so when did this, you guys said that when this, came on your radar that there were issues and this wasn't we weren't gonna be able to wait, the seal, somebody had to do something about the roof now. When did that pop up on your radar? Because this is not a problem from the last week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks. The choir room has been leaking since almost the day one of school.
Yeah, it's been a fall problem. So we've been trying to mitigate it with different solutions that did not work as well, and that's why we're doing this tonight.
And so this Chad, I'm sorry, I don't know who exactly is in charge of what, so Chad, who I'm assuming is the project manager,
Superintendent's out there.
okay, so he is the one who's overseeing these
Yes.
Yes.
Band-Aids that we've been putting on, and now a ace bandage, if you will, until June.
Well, I mean, it was determined pretty quickly that we needed to do a roof replacement, right? And it takes time to do that, unfortunately, developing plans, the laws to procure all this stuff, right? So we're expediting as fast as possible, just getting the plans ready. So as soon as we identify it, we try to do temporary repairs to manage it, but we're moving as fast as we can, based on our guidance from our solicitor, to get this permanent replacement done. So this isn't something we decided to do last week because of the storm. This is something that obviously we've been talking about for a few months now as we've been going through this process. So this isn't a reaction to yesterday, this isn't a reaction to Sunday. This is something that we knew before it even got this bad. We already took the steps to start replacing the roof when there was 2 or 3 buckets and a couple trickles here in a couple rooms, and the problem's grown much larger since.
Yeah,
So unfortunately, we started taking those steps back when we did.
I think the
Unfortunately,
problem on
it's
our
not
end or the concern on our end is that nothing has been communicated officially to us from day one. From day one, when our kids were coming home saying there's water coming down on the brand new choir room is leaking. We can only go on one, the altos have to be singing on the wrong side because and nothing has been communicated to us as parents and guardians. And then again, not to harp on this, but is there anything that we can do to go back to the original architect and say,
That would be a discussion that would be illegal, so that's not something we're gonna talk about publicly.
about going back and getting, it's our tax dollars that we're.
I understand that, but it's not something that we're gonna talk about tonight,
Okay.
okay?
Okay, questions, okay.
And my kids.
Okay. More information to come.
And we need to move for consideration for a vote on the 25th.
Yes, we're okay with this board, yes. When we get the additional information. Okay.
Yeah, so this is the next part of the multipurpose field, project, and this